You mentioned desperation. I imagine you mean the declining slot revenues, which have been an important part of what's happened in New Jersey. How much do you think the dominant nature of multi-line penny games, which naturally have a very high hold percentage, how much do you think that is to blame for the decline and for the need for a new style of game? And I'll just throw that out to the panel.
Sure. And I think hold percentage really plays an important role in customer satisfaction, regardless of the game type. People that have a sense that they're connected to a game or that they're good at it tend to stick around. If they sense that the machine's cold or they don't think they're good at the game, then there's less of a chance that the player will obtain a win that encourages them to continue playing. The multi-line games that you mentioned, that they might be boring to some people, they might be fun for others. It's really sort of a matter of preference. And there's been a lot of multi-line games that have been successful. It's really that right combination of the math model and the hold percentage and probably 1,000 other factors that really played a role in that success. And I think kind of that recipe will be the same will be true for skill games. Probably actually many more factors that will kind of retain a player. So, in fact, most of the games that come through our lab, even the penny multi-line games, they have various configurations for return percentage, 86, 88, 92, 94. It can really be configured really to any return percentage. So I think if we're seeing a decline in interest with regard to multi-line games, it might be a matter of those configurations, not necessarily the fact that they are multi-line games. But at the same time, I think the whole idea of skill is exciting, and I think that people who are used to interacting with their technology are going to thrive at dive at the chance to play a skill game. But all in all, I'd say the continued success of any gambling game is primarily a function of a reasonable return. If the players feel they have a reasonable chance of walking away a winner, then they may not be inclined to play.
Eric, there are other factors though as well, such as progression to different levels and a sense of achievement on the skill-based game. Don't you feel that's also a factor?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, one of the things we're finding very interesting at Gamblit is that, really looking at that balance of you've got to be able to get someone's attention, they got to be able to understand and approach the game pretty quickly, and yet there has to be enough progression in the game that it doesn't get boring quickly. Look, we look back to the traditional arcades, right? I mean, arcades were interesting places. They were a great learning model, if you will. I mean, arcade games, if they were too complex to understand or they were kind of boring pretty quickly, they just sat and those machines got turned over and they're out. That's a very important balance. But yeah, I think you're going to have progression in games. I also think the tricky thing too will be, I actually think within the, say, 21 to 45 demographic, as you get to the older edge of that, you're probably going to find a more simplistic game desire than when you're at like early to mid-20s, right? Because the game complexity is a lot to do with the interest, and all of that related to skill, of course. So when we talk skill, I just want to point out that's inevitably where it goes, but it's about interactivity. It means what you spend your time doing on that device matters. Otherwise, the passive experience is going to, at least for that younger demographic who are supercharged on information, inflows, and almost overload, they need a lot of mental stimulation. There just isn't enough in a traditional passive game, if you will.
Do you have anything to add, Dave?
No, I think they've all made good points. I would agree, Frank, you've written about this. It certainly is a factor. There are so many factors that are impacting this area. I don't think you can really point to one particularly. I mean, you just take, there will always be an interest by a segment of the players for traditional slot machine play. But I agree, the innovation, the interactivity, the social networking nature of the younger generation, the multitasking, the ability to take their monies on multiple options that exist in the gaming world today, whether it be brick and mortar or on the internet, it's exploded. And it's what was mentioned by Gamblit. It's technology. It's driving this change. I was talking to Frank earlier. I said, do we really have any more coin-based slot machines anywhere? because I know there's always, when I walk the floor, I usually have some blue-haired lady come up to me and say, where's that nickel slot machine that I used to go to? I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea. So I quickly looked for somebody at one of the casinos and said, would you help this lady? I mean, really? And so I really don't know it exists, but we all know from the industry for 30 years, at one point in time, that was an extremely popular, successful device.